afternoon to everybody, and welcome to this new debriefing. As we all know, in the European Parliament, a number of elected members of the European Parliament have attempted to obtain a COVID commission in order to get to the bottom of the responsibilities of each of the individual member states. That COVID commission was actually cancelled. And today I have the pleasure of having MEP Christine Anderson from Germany, because three of the MEPs who've been prevented consistently by the European Commission to conduct their job, their responsibilities on behalf of their electoral individuals, have issued a litigation. Please welcome Christine Anderson on the show. Miss Anderson, thank you very much for giving us some of your time. I'm sure you always get the same question, say, what is this litigation about, and really what are you hoping to get out of that?
Well, so what happened was that we now had the second resolution pretty much to set up an inquiry committee in various fields. And a big part of it is, of course, the whole thing about, the mRNA injections and how they handled COVID. So, but there's other things. There's general a lack of transparency and accountability. So the EU Commission pretty much does whatever they want. Without having any regard for democratic processes. And this has been now the second time that we got together the required 25% of the members of the House to set up an inquiry committee. And once again, it was just shut down, but not by a vote in Parliament. It was shut down by the so-called COP, that is a body that pretty much outlines the topics of the next plenary session and so forth. So, and they just killed it once again with a simple majority. This is absolutely outrageous. How can you, on the one hand, provide a protection of the minority and allow for them, 25% of the members can set up an inquiry committee if you then kill it in the EU Commission's dominated COP. This doesn't seem right.
Can you please explain to the viewers what a COP really is? Is this an elected body, or is this just a body of individuals who get together without being elected?
This is pretty much an administrative body. And we have the Parliament's president and the vice presidents are there. And you have, of course, one representative for each group, for each faction. And it's in general, it's the presidents of the respective groups that are, coming together, and they pretty much decide what the plenary session is going to be about the following time, how much speaking time is allocated per topic, and so forth. So these are the decisions they are taking there. But in the rules, nowhere does it say that they also can just shut down an inquiry committee if 25% of the members ask to have one set up. So that's a gross violation of the rules of procedure. And like I said, it undermines our capabilities of doing our job and representing the people that elected us to exercise control over the EU Commission. And that's, undermining the democratic principles.
Ms. Anderson, would you consider that this is like a censoring body within the EU Commission?
No, I wouldn't quite go that far. But I mean, in essence, that's what happened here, right?
You're being censored.
The dominant groups in the House is the EPP, and Ursula von der Leyen is from that, party. So of course they don't want any investigations into her doings, or should I say wrongdoings. So they have an interest in just shutting it down, but you cannot. It can't work like this. Either you have a parliament, and the parliament exercises an oversight over the government, if you want, which would be the EU Commission, or you just shut down the parliament altogether. What's the use of having a parliament if they are in fact not allowed to exercise the right to have oversight over the EU Commission?
And if we go back to a few statements that Ms. von der Leyen has made, she has always claimed she is in favor of transparency, but it looks as if this committee is in favor of obscurity.
Well, she's always in favor of transparency when it's not her having to be transparent. So what she is wanting, or what she wants, is for the citizens to be totally transparent, right? But she prefers to operate, you know, in closed backroom kind of scenarios, exchanging texts, you know, with the Pfizer chef Bourla via short messages on phone. I mean, she refuses to pretty much publish them and let the public decide, you know, did she do the right thing there? Was it all, you know, according to the rules? So, but that's not the point of having the parliament, and that's not even the point of having a parliamentary system. So, no, transparency is for the government. And it's actually, you know, you live in a democracy if the citizens know everything about your government, but you live in a tyranny if the government knows everything about the citizen. And that's the difference here.
So, Ms. Anderson, since you were unable to obtain this commission, you've now issued proceedings against this own commission. And can you please tell us about these proceedings and what you expect from that?
Yeah. So, like I said, what happened was in that COP that I already explained what that is, they decided to shut a possible inquiry committee, and the title was Transparency and Accountability. They just decided to shut it down with a simple majority. And this is circumventing my right as an elected member of the House. And I'm an elected parliamentarian representation of the German people, so I can't do my job. So I decided with two other colleagues, and that is Charlie Weimers from Sweden and Marieke Elers from the Netherlands. We decided to bring forth charges against the EU Parliament for having shut it down in that body, the COP, rather than putting it to a vote in the plenary. I mean, that in and of itself is already kind of like a way of ensuring that, you know, not too harsh questions would be asked if the entire parliament votes on that. It is good practice in Germany, in pretty much all of the parliaments there, whether it's the Bundestag or the state parliaments, that 25% of the members of the parliament, they can enact a parliamentary inquiry committee, and it has to be set up. Here, you know, we already have that hurdle that the plenary has to enact it with a simple majority in the House. So what we're trying to do is to have the decision that was taken in the COP to just shut it down, to have that annulled due to having violated the rules of procedure. And we're also looking for having this procedure expedited to fast track it, because if you look at a normal timeline, if you bring forth the proceeding, you're talking about, what, 2.5, 3 years. Well, by that time, this term would be up. So I would never be able to, you know, actually do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not allowed to take part in that. So this is what we're trying to do, to have it expedited and to have the procedure annulled, the cancelling in the COP annulled, to have a vote in Parliament so that all MEPs can actually do their job and decide, yeah, we do want this committee or we don't want this committee.
So basically, when you're an elected MEP and then you're acting on behalf of your constituents, and the commission that prevents you from actually doing your job, you have to revert to justice, and this is the only course of action. Because you're prevented from doing your job. And are you getting the support from the people who voted for you? Because there's only 3 of you, and there seem to be 25%. So clearly that's a subset of the 25% group. Do you get the support from the others, and they were not ready to actually go all the way to filing with you on?
Well, I mean, yeah, I do get the support. I mean, there's plenty of MEPs that support me in this. And the people, they support me in this too. And this is, you know, one thing that I ran on in this election campaign. that, you know, I would fight to have proper inquiry into all of the matters that the people have a right to know and learn about. And so I cannot just sit idly by while the COP, you know, the body in the parliament, just, you know, shuts it down and prevents me from living up to the promise that I gave the people. So this is the course of action I have, and that's the course of action I will take. So at least I can say in the end, I did everything I could to live up to my promise. And that's why we did that. And yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
Ms. Anderson, thank you very much for giving us so much of your time on this. Just maybe one final question. Are there anything I have not covered in this interview? Because it's the usual habit of François that we give the last word to the person that we invite. What else would you like to add on this topic?
Well, it is time that the EU institutions finally live up to what they promise the peoples in the various member states, that we are a democracy and that the rules apply to everyone. It doesn't matter from what walks of life they're coming. And but it goes in particular for the EU Commission, which is kind of like the government of the EU member states, even though the EU is not even a national state by no stretch of the imagination. But it is finally time that they walk their talk. And yeah, that's what we are elected to do. And we will see to it that that happens. We will live up to our promise of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And we will take to court anyone who doesn't live up to that.
Well, Ms. Anderson, thank you very much for taking the time to actually explain this litigation. Please, whenever you have some developments, if you have some calendars or some response from the court, please don't hesitate to call upon us to cover this information. Thank you very much and have an excellent afternoon.
Thank you so much.